10 weirdest things about the ancient world you didn't learn at school. 1. The Maya had a Batman deity. Kamisatz was the god of night, sacrifice, and death. He had the body of a man and the head of a bat. He also had pointy ears and wore a mask. His name means death bat in the Quiche language. 2. Tutankhamun had a meteoric iron dagger. The dagger was hidden in the wrappings of his mummy. In King Tut's day, iron was more valuable than gold. It was incredibly rare in ancient Egypt. The blade is made of iron, nickel, and cobalt. This suggests the metal came from a meteorite. 3. The Greeks didn't allow married women to attend the Olympics. The original Olympic athletes performed in the nude. Married women were banned from admiring the hunks. The Greeks feared they would get lustful desires. This could lead to adultery, which was a serious crime. 4. Aksum was the first Christian empire. The Aksumite Empire ruled over northeastern Africa. It was a major trade partner of Rome and India. The Aksumites had its own alphabet. They erected giant obelisks, some of which are still standing. It was also the first major empire to convert to Christianity. Aksum fell into decline in the 6th century and vanished in 940 AD. 5. A 2,500-year-old Chinese sword is still sharp. The sword of Gujin was forged between 771 and 403 BC. It was discovered in a tomb in Hubei, China in 1965. The blade is made from copper and tin, but it also contains blue crystals and turquoise. The inscription on the blade says, "King of Yue made this sword for personal use." 6. Japanese monks practiced self-mummification. Some Buddhist monks mummified themselves alive. For 3 years, a monk would only eat nuts, buds, and roots. When death was near, his disciples would put him in a box. The box was placed at the bottom of a pit. Charcoal was packed around the box, burying the monk alive. Only enlightened monks were considered capable of this feat. 7. The Etruscan language still hasn't been deciphered. The Etruscan civilization flourished in Italy before the 3rd century BC. It was a major Mediterranean trading power. The Etruscans had their own writing system. They had rich art and architecture. Then they were conquered by the Romans. The Romans borrowed architecture from the Etruscans, but the writings of this lost culture are still unreadable. 8. The Library of Alexandria had an ingenious way to acquire books. Alexandria was a major port in ancient Egypt. Any ship that docked there was inspected for books. If any were found, they were brought to the library. All the books were copied. The original was kept in the library, and the copy was given back to the owner. 9. A Roman poet's verse was so insulting, no one dared translate it. In the 1st century BC, the poet Catullus wrote a poem. It was an attack on his critics, poet Furius and Senator Aurelius. The poem was extremely vulgar and obscene. It wasn't translated into any language until the 20th century. 10. Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt. Meroe is much larger than Giza. It was the capital of the Kingdom of Kush until the 4th century AD. The site has more than 200 Nubian pyramids. There are also carved statues and temple ruins. However, the Egyptian pyramids are much larger